I mean, even sitting here and repeating them after, this is a Abraham Hicks video. You could feel the energy. You could feel the energy going through your body by just saying the words and the I am, I am. So often we say, I am tired, I have no energy, I am poor, I am. Instead of the affirmation that is who we truly are, I am spirit, I am the presence of God, I am that, I am. So good evening and welcome to Wednesday's Wisdom, where we practice, practice, practice. And that's one of the ways we practice is with affirmations. We practice the presence, which is who we are. My name is Judy Chapman. I'm one of the assistant ministers here at the center. I'm so delighted that you are here this evening for this spectacular event. Our practitioner tonight is Pam Rock. She's available after the service for about 15 minutes if you so choose to have a short session with her. And a practitioner is a person who has been trained in the art and the science of prayer, affirmative prayer treatment. And she can see the truth for you through the forest, to the trees, to the essence of who you are. So sometimes we get wrapped up. I don't know, maybe you don't, but I get wrapped up in all the things that are happening during the day. And I forget that I am a spiritual being and that there is a truth there that sets me free. So Pam is there to remind us of that. So we're going to do an opening chant. It's a call and response by Jennifer. And then Pam will open our service with an affirmative prayer and a demonstration.
Excuse me? Wait, what's affirmative prayer?
Affirmative prayer.
Yeah.
Affirmative prayer.
Yeah.
He's saying
what is a prayer?
What is a prayer? It's a prayer.
Like a prayer to Jesus?
No, it's a prayer to the universe. It's a prayer of the universe. It's a prayer for good.
Like, so not to anyone specifically?
Not to anyone, but to the God within yourself.
All right.
So she'll open it with a prayer and you'll get a taste of that.
All right.
Okay? Thank you.
You'll also get a taste of it in the opening chant, too. It's like a declarative statement. It's like declaring out loud and owning who you are and the divine potential that you possess.
Okay.
And this song is called I Am a Work in Progress. So it's a whole bunch of affirmations that we're going to sing over and over again.
Okay.
So just repeat after me. David Roth says, practice makes progress. I am a work in progress. I release all doubt today. Can you sing it? I am a work in progress. I release all doubt today. I am a work in progress. I release all fear today. I am a work in progress. I release all fear today. Living in the This is my favorite line. Everything will work out. I don't have to know how, right? Everything will work out. I don't have to know how. Sing it with me. I am a work in progress. Repeat it. I am a work in progress. I am a work in progress. I am a work in progress. Look at your neighbor and say, you are a work in progress. You are a work in progress. Now say we. We are a work in progress. We are a work in progress. Nicely done, everyone.
Please relax and rest as I speak my word for all of us here present. So what I know to be absolutely true is that there is only one thing, one energy, one perfect universal power that infuses the entire universe with life and love and beauty. This one thing, whether you call it God or Allah or Buddha or Frank or Harry or Sally, it is that one life, that one essence that is everywhere present, always. It is absolute unconditional love. It is wisdom. It is all of the knowledge and beauty and perfection that there is. It is my source of everything, and it is the source and life and breath of each of these beloveds in this room this evening. So what I know for each of us, what I declare for each of us, that this time, this space is a time of love, of sharing, of wisdom, of joy. It is a time of brotherhood, sisterhood, of oneness. I know for each and every one of us that some bit of wisdom, some aha, some knowledge, something is revealed this evening. It may be one thing for one person, another thing for another person, but the thing is, it's that one truth. And I'm so grateful for this. I am grateful for these beloveds in this room this evening. I am grateful for the wisdom, the joy, the perfection, the eternal life that is in this room right now. I know that it is already done as I've spoken my words, so I simply release it into that one universal mind that always says, yes, yes, my beloved, to whatever word is put into it. I let it go, I let it be, as together we say, and so it is. So it's my joy to share yet another demonstration of prayer. Our prayer team a few weeks ago received a request from someone the house that she was renting was being sold. The house owner was very definite in his plans to sell the house and use that profit to do something else with his life, very specific. So the prayer request was for this person to find another home to rent nearby at about the same price. And this person's preference was that it would be in the same neighborhood, but anywhere close by would do. So we set to work on that prayer request over the next 2, maybe 3 weeks, couple of weeks. And I heard today that this person, the prayer was answered in the most wonderful way, more perfect than I could have thought. The house owner, who had specific reasons and purposes and plans to sell that house, decided not to sell. And so, and wanted the prayer requester to continue living there. And so, it's just the most perfect prayer demonstration. That's awesome.
Thank you, Pam. That really is a good demonstration. Thank you. One of my teachers, one of my mentors was Dr. Tom Costa. I've known him for years and years. And when he made his transition, I was gifted his Science of Mind 365 book with all of his notes in it. And so they're all in they're in pencil, so they're fading. But so it's really wonderful to go through the book and see different things that really caught his attention. So today I opened it up to April the 11th, and I would like you to read the first part. What this is the science of, this was in the Science of Mind magazine. We have our Science of Mind magazine for our monthly prayers, and this is from a long time ago when he first started writing. So on April the 11th, he wrote, "In all the kingdoms that exist, and in all the planes that exist, and deep within the self, hidden and yet felt, there is a high priest ready to conduct us to the sacred and secret chambers of the self, where God and man are one. The search for union passes into the realization not only that we are just with or in, but that we are of God. One with or one in implies separation. The great realization is that we are of that which is. We are some part of it. And that last sentence is underlined like this. And that's who we are, spiritual beings. We are the beloved. We are God in expression. So tonight, our guest is Jennifer Ferren. She is a national keynote presenter who combines her soul-filled music with impactful messages of truth and love. Her mission is to awaken humanity by sharing her gifts with spectacular individuals just like you. Please give a warm welcome to Jennifer Ferren.
Hello, everyone. It's so great to be here in San Clemente. It is my great pleasure to present to you tonight. I am going to be talking about all of the different ways to tap into and to express that inner essence, that inner spectacular. So I'd like you first and foremost to put your hands upon your heart and repeat after me, if you so choose, this spectacular pledge. And if you feel comfortable, would you mind standing up? It's always more impactful when you can stand if you feel comfortable. Okay, so repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to myself.
I pledge allegiance to myself.
To the miraculous state of my spectacular.
To the miraculous state of my spectacular.
And to this core essence for which I stand.
And to this core essence for which I stand.
I see full function.
I see full function.
I acknowledge my empowerment.
I acknowledge my empowerment.
And I give thanks for the spectacular in me.
And I give thanks for the spectacular in me.
Very well done. You may be seated. I like it. It feels good to declare you're spectacular. Now, some days, however, are better than others. Some days we remember that spectacular. Some days it's much easier to tap into that which is within us already and through which we are an expression. And then other days, like I think Mercury is still in retrograde, or if you're into the astrology thing, it's been a really long time this time, isn't it, until April 15th? And it's always a good excuse if you're having a low day, a low energy day. Mercury's in retrograde. Sometimes it is, sometimes but it never keeps us from using that excuse. And so what I like to do, I like to approach one of my very first things of tapping into my inner spectacular is to go to humor. I like to use humor. I come from a long family, a long ancestral line of characters. And so we've always used our humor. And so what I like to say is, I was telling the ladies, we all went up to some dinner before we got here tonight, And I teach babies how to dance during the week. I teach baby dance and baby yoga. So one of the coolest things in the whole world is teaching children what namaste means. So here's what I say to them. I say to them, what does namaste mean? And they say, the awesome in me sees the awesome in you. And that's like the most compact, precise, easy way that I can explain it to them. And I teach on Georgia Tech campus. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. And so I get to go into a lot of these college campuses, and I'm teaching the children of the educators, of the actual professors and the staff, and of the older students too. And so I get international babies from all around the world. And so it's really interesting just to even witness them on a day-to-day basis. These kids, sometimes English is their third language they're learning. And by the time they are 3 years old, they may have a father that's Chinese, they may have a mother that is German, and yet here the parents are in the United States going to graduate school, and now the child is learning a third language. And if they're learning dance, that's almost like a fourth language. And when they're learning yoga, and I'm throwing some Sanskrit words out to them, then they're learning even sometimes multi-languages. So what I like to say, I like to use dancing references when I'm talking about essence and when I'm talking about the divine. And so it's always the standing joke. When I was a little kid, I was booted out of ballet because I was one of those kids that was really high energy. And I asked way too many questions, and I was really always in the ballet's teacher face asking about things. And so I was kind of gently recommended, she said to my mother, well, the elder one can stay, but this younger one, she's really being a little bit disruptive in class. And so now, when I'm teaching the babies dance, I really pay attention to the ones that are really inquisitive and that have a whole lot of energy. And it's my pleasure to be able to approach that with joy and with exuberance and match it, because, hey, like, I am the queen of exuberant energy, so it's great to see these kids. And so when it comes to life, sometimes things come at us. Sometimes it's not always just love and positivity and greatness that comes at us. Sometimes there are some wrenches that are thrown in the plan. So sometimes we call that the cosmic 2x4. And so what I like to say is, we're bending to duck and miss it. And so we're bending this way, cha-cha-cha. We're bending that way, cha-cha-cha. And I call it my positive affirmative cha-cha-cha. Now, some days are better than others. Some days, you would give them an A day. You have lots of energy. Everything's going your way. The wind isn't messing up your hair. Some days are an A+ day. Some days, maybe a C- day. Maybe you are not quite feeling at full energy. Some days, you may give yourself a grade of an F. Some days may be epic fails. And yet, I came to the realization in my very first time in giving this talk, all of those letters are in the musical scale. And they all make up the song and the tapestry of our lives. They're all in the melody of our lives. And so we choose to embrace that. And that which comes at us that we may feel we need to duck out of, we can take that and we can use that and we can learn from that. And the older we get, I just turned 50 this year, we start to see it with new eyes. Sometimes things will come right at us and we may think that it's challenge at the time, and yet the older we get, we can start looking at it with different perspective. We can allow ourselves to gain that other perspective and look at things just a little bit differently. Learn to walk in someone else's shoes. And like Don Miguel Ruiz says, not to take things personally all the time. That's one of the 4 agreements, not to take everything personally. Sometimes when stuff is coming at you, it's not even about you. It is about maybe that person and what they are dealing with at this point in time. And so why would we internalize that and interpret that as something that is our fault or something that is less than? And so it's all about allowing ourselves to have that perspective, to see that grace in whatever situation is coming along. So a lot of what I do is message with music. So I'd like to sing my first song for you. Well, it's actually the second because we did a group song together. And this song is called I Allow Myself. A lot of times We can feel like we are blocking things. We can feel like there's just way too much coming at us. And yet when we allow ourselves not to take it personally, when we allow ourselves to relax and trust in the flow, we can see that sometimes Spirit is working even through the chaos and even through the stuff that is potentially not feeling like it is in divine order. And yet when we can sit with it and we can allow ourselves to release and surrender and open ourselves to divine will, we see it differently. I allow myself. Can you sing that with me? I allow myself. What is freedom? Is it here now? What is real? And what is fantasy? Oh, it's a mystery. Why we hold ourselves down. Let us rise above and let our spirits sing. Can you sing it? Oh, maybe put your palms. I allow myself. Take a nice breath in. I allow myself. Oh, I'm choosing freedom. I let it in as I begin to see my life anew. And oh, it's a mystery why it's taken so long. But I'm choosing now to let my spirit sing. I allow myself. I allow myself. Because now is the time, and now is the place. I choose to simply be. I allow myself. I allow myself. I allow myself. many times do we get in our own way? Sometimes we are That song was called Spirit in Me Now, actually. But sometimes we get in our own way. Sometimes we are our biggest sabotageurs. I don't know about you, but I self-sabotage even still. And I've been in this since 1986. I've been in New Thought and in Positive Thought, and I've been on the path of consciousness and looking at spirituality and at connected energy in a whole new way, and learning and evolving and growing through unity, through science of mind, through Baha'i. I have a good friend who is a prominent vocalist in the Baha'i organization, and she's out in LA right now. She posted something beautiful this morning. And so, you know, it's all about, again, looking at life with a different perspective, learning other faiths, learning how all of the truths intertwine and weave together as a tapestry. So getting back to our spectacular, part of our spectacular is learning and appreciating and respecting all the paths to truth, all of the paths to consciousness and awareness. Another big step in shining our spectacular and letting that spirit, that God light shine through us is letting go and forgiving. And so sometimes there are issues and traumas that happen that are so huge and so massive that they freeze you in your evolution. They freeze you where you are. And sometimes it takes a while to overcome. It may be a person, it may be a relationship that was traumatic. It may be a situation that was traumatic. It may be a life circumstance. And sometimes you are not going to get an apology from that person or that place or that thing. And some people go through their entire lives stuck and frozen in that moment of trauma, just wishing beyond all hope that they could hear that apology from that person or that place or that thing. They need that apology in order to be able to turn around and forgive. And sometimes that won't happen. And so this is something that I did 20 years ago. And it was life-changing for me. I had learned about this. I had seen it at a talk at one of my Unity churches, and I used the technique, and it was simply this. I sat down in front of my fireplace. It was wintertime. I had a fire going. My husband was out of the house. I had the house all to myself, and I was having an issue with someone, a really big, one of those big, this might shift my life moments. And I needed to have some kind of way to release it and surrender it and to forgive. And so what I did was I envisioned, as I'm sitting on my lovely hearth of my fireplace with my cushion and the fire crackling behind me. I didn't have any music going. I just had the fire. And I breathed in and I said out loud, because no one was there, so I didn't have to worry about it. I could actually vocalize it. And I said, the higher consciousness of me reaches out to the higher consciousness of you. My particular thing was with a person. And I said to this, in this space, just to the open room, I said, my higher consciousness reaches out to your higher consciousness. And I ask you for forgiveness in my part of our disconnect. And I forgive you for your part in our disconnect. I ask you forgiveness for my part, and I forgive you for your part. And I sat with that for a little bit. And there was all this space in the middle. And as I sat with this thought out loud, suddenly things were clear. And I started feeling that the gap and the distance between us was closing, and that it was almost like when you go to get adjusted, if any of you do chiropractic, and you feel your spine aligning again. It was almost like that. We had been separated. We were disconnected. And sometimes with forgiveness, that's simply all it is. If you can do what Deepak says and just emotionally detach from things for a moment and just simply see it as a disconnect. I ask you for forgiveness. I forgive you. And suddenly we are one again. And the connection is made. And it doesn't matter that that person wasn't physically there to say it to me. Just like with our affirmations that you were asking about at the beginning of the program, when you can say it and think it and imagine that space of connection, it can heal itself. The vibrations can come back together again in harmony. And it might seem like a fluffy little idea that I just threw out at you, but sometimes as humans, we need those physical exercises that we do out loud in order to give our ego, our mind, a positive way. It's like dealing with kids that have a little bit too much energy. That's what your ego is sometimes. It's like a kid that is running a little bit errant, and you just need to gently redirect it, gently refocus it. So forgiveness is a huge part of bringing our spectacular fully out. And so this is a song that I wrote called Forgiveness. And as with most of my stuff, I like for all of you to sing along, because as you sing and as you verbalize, it just helps things manifest and heal at such a more rapid pace. I forgive you. I forgive all the heartache we have come to know. I forgive you. For I know a higher way is waiting to be shown. Darkness sometimes holds us down so deep, trapped by all the burdens that we choose to keep. But oh, I'm letting go. It's time to move ahead and time to grow. And so, what do we do? I forgive. Can you sing it? I forgive you. I forgive all the heartache we have come to know. I forgive you. For I know a higher way is waiting to be shown. Now pain and hurt exist and they are real. And some transgressions take their time to process and heal. But oh, I'm letting go. It's time to move ahead and time to grow. And so I forgive you. I forgive all the heartache we have come to know. I forgive you. For I know a higher way is waiting to be shown. I am standing strong in who I am, and I release the past because I can. Love is what I choose to feel and be. I forgive and suddenly I am free. Hey, I forgive you. I forgive all the heartache we have come to know. I forgive you. For I know a higher way is waiting to be shown. Sing that line again. For I know a higher way is waiting to be shown. One more time. For I know a higher way is waiting to be shown. Whoever that person, place, or thing is, wrap it in your hands right now. I see you able to forgive it. I see you able to release it. I see you able to let it go. And what happens when it comes back at you the next day and something triggers a memory about that person, place, or thing? You remember that here you are and here they are, and you see their higher consciousness aligning with your higher consciousness, getting rid of all the chaos in between and aligning again. It's just that simple. It's as simple as taking in a breath and allowing that transformative energy to align and unlock all of those places that have been locked and tight and angsty and icky. It's all a matter of perspective and looking at it in a whole new way. Abraham Hicks has a great, so many as you saw in the opening movie. And for those of you who may not know who Abraham Hicks is, Abraham is like collective energy, collective source energy that is channeled through this woman named Esther Hicks. And she and her husband Jerry, he passed away a little while ago. But Esther started having these, prayer, this prayer and this energy come through her, and she started feeling inclined to share it with the world. And she and her husband Jerry, it became a ministry, and they traveled the world. And what she does is she'll go to live events, and she will sit on stage, and audience members can ask questions about specific things, and she allows this divine energy to channel through her. Whether you believe in that kind of thing or not, if you've ever been to one of these events, it is very, very powerful. And even if you may, as my husband is a typical crusty Rhode Islander, can sometimes be cynical, when you feel truth and when you feel high vibrational energy and you see it live and in person, you know it and you feel it and it rings true. And a lot of what Abraham Hicks puts out there, everything that I've ever heard, I've never seen them live, but I've heard a lot of their CDs and I've read a lot of the books. Simply amazing. And this came forth at the Agape Revelation event, April 16th, 2011. Ricky Byers-Beckwith and Michael Beckwith have that going on, I think at the end of this month or in May. It's coming up very, very soon. But this came through in one of their Revelation events. Abraham came through and said, there isn't anything that will bog you down. There isn't anything that will burn you out. There isn't anything that can break your heart. There isn't anything that will disappoint you. There isn't anything that will hurt you in any other way. There is nothing. There is no assertion of anything unwanted. The only thing that could ever keep you from being you is you. And that's the good news, and it's also the challenging news. So the onus is on us. The power is within us to be able to fix that disconnect and to be able to refocus and redirect that energy. Now, one of the final things I'm going to talk about in bringing the spectacular essence out of us is doing what makes our hearts sing. I left a little bit early. I was staying in San Diego for the rest of this week, and I drove up this afternoon to San Clemente, and I got off a couple of exits down the road at Oceanside. Is it Stateside Beach or Oceanside Beach? Oceanside, whatever it was. It was right next to the Fort Pendleton station, military station down there. And I just parked my car, right? I had my little dress on, so I'm not going to go out and frolic in the waves or anything. And the tide was in, so there really wasn't any beach to sit on. But I just sat there and basked in the sun. I got my little towel, put it on a rock, and I just sat there, kind of had my arms open. I just breathed in the power of the Pacific Ocean. Is it Rumi that says we are but a drop, and that we are all drops that are all in the ocean? Just a drop. We're all individual drops that are expressing from the ocean. And I just really tuned in. I was reading a great book, and every once in a while, I'd put my book down and I would just breathe in and bask. And that made my heart sing. Sometimes as we are walking along, and especially the more life hands us, the more as humans we love to stay busy. And I know I do. I mean, I'm a multitasker all the time. And we forget to do what makes our heart sing. We do what we have to do. We do what we need to do. We take care of them. We take care of them. We're doing. But are we doing what truly makes our heart sing? And I invite you to start doing that. Give yourselves the time and the respect and the energy that you need. You have to cleanse. You have to release and surrender and let go and make room. And part of that is when you make that room, you can allow new opportunities to come your way. And so sometimes you can reach your goals. I'm a goal person. I like to have steps. I'm a procedural person. So I like to make goals and then do my steps to reach my goal. But then what happens even when you get your goal? Sometimes you reach your goal and you hang on to that triumph and that victory, and you keep hanging and you keep hanging and you get comfortable in it. But at some point you have to let that victory go and move on to something new, because as humans living in this spiritual, or as spiritual beings living in this human world, we want to learn, we want to expand, we always want to evolve constantly, we want to grow more and more and more. And so part of that is being able to get out of our comfort zone of what we've just reached. And it's kind of like I'm not going to say a vicious cycle, it's a happy cycle. It's a happy circle of life, like Elton John, the circle of life. We reach our goals and we're happy and we're comfortable, but sometimes we stay in that comfort zone for so long that comfort can sometimes lead to boredom, and boredom can sometimes lead to stagnation. Stagnation can sometimes lead to resentment, and then resentment can sometimes lead you down that slippery slope right on into depression. And so constantly being aware of where your energy is, and if you're feeling a little, like a sloth, you're feeling a little apathetic, you're feeling a little bored, that divine discontent is what we call it in New Thought often, go out and try something new. Try a new restaurant. Try some Thai food if you've never had Thai food. Go to a dance class. Go to a live event. If you haven't been out to see a show in ages, or if you haven't been to a sporting event, if you haven't gone and walked on the beach, maybe you'd like to try paddleboarding. Maybe you've never tried paddleboarding. Maybe that's a fun thing to try. Maybe it's a new book. Maybe you need to read something. I don't care what you do, but I do care that you try new things constantly so that you don't get stuck in your ruts. Doing what makes your heart sing is a huge, huge way to really and truly make your spectacular shine. Let's do what makes our hearts sing, using all the gifts we have to bring into this world today. Let's do what makes our hearts sing, celebrate that special thing that keeps us dancing on our way. 'Cause life's too short to settle for less, so tell me why on earth would we do that? No, we don't want to find 10 years down the line that we chose to give in to compromise. So let's do what makes our hearts sing, using all the gifts we have to bring into this world today. Let's do what makes our hearts sing, celebrate that special thing that keeps us dancing on our way. Because it's our duty to recognize the beauty of seemingly simple moments that go by. And it's our given right to shine our inner light, find a way to live a happy life. Oh, now is the time to free our minds and do what makes our hearts sing, using all the gifts we have to bring into this world today. Let's do what makes our hearts sing, celebrate that special thing that keeps us dancing on our way. I invite you to allow yourselves to release and let go and surrender, to get rid of all the stuff that needs to go and make room so that newness can come into your life and you can thrive as you move forward. Let's do what makes our hearts sing. 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 Can you sing it? Let's do what makes our hearts sing. I invite all of you to do what makes your heart sing. I invite all of you to work on releasing and surrendering and forgiving and allowing your good to work through.